mean, with someone who has a teenage daughter who has become sexually active, I cannot imagine a teenager sitting there and counting their days and making sure they are not further before having
Yeah,
sex,
yeah,
So, or some of them, parents are worried that like they won't be disciplined enough to use barrier methods, but it's
yeah,
it's either or, it's like
yeah,
you can't really have your cake and eat it, so to speak, so
yeah,
that if you go on these like on the birth control to avoid pregnancy, then now you are placing yourself like at a future date to have issues. So
yes,
I don't know, do you get a lot of patients who bring their teenage daughters that I don't want her on
yes,
birth control,
yeah.
fix it?
Yeah. And honestly, what we find, it's amazing. The teenagers are so enthralled with this knowledge of science and of their bodies.
Oh,
And
okay.
honestly, we sometimes have an easier time teaching teens than their moms, right? Because they're
Okay.
such
Okay.
sponges. They want to know more about this.
Yeah.
And they do a great job with tracking their cycles. There's actually been studies done showing that over 90% of teens are tracking their cycles in some way. Now, most of them are just tracking, when their period is happening, but it's a very easy transition into helping them to identify, hey, when is my cycle happening? When am I ovulating? They start to track, like, hey, when am I moody? When am I having migraines? And they are very, very invested in being able to have this education. There's entire programs that are focused just on teaching teens how to track their cycles. So it's a little
Okay.
different focus and intentionality. Certainly they still have to utilize that. And we know that sometimes teens' brains aren't fully formed in order to be able to make those kind of decisions when it comes
Yeah.
to, am I becoming sexually active or not? But I think if nothing else, if we're teaching them from this young age and empowering them to say, okay, here's what's going on with my body, I have this
Yeah.
awareness, women feel so much more empowered rather than just being like, well, I don't know. I mean, I guess I got pregnant because I forgot to take my pill. Like, that's a very different situation than, hey, I have an awareness of what's going on and feeling empowered to be able to make those choices.
Exactly. Oh, that's
You know?
so good. That is
Yeah.
so good. Like empowering the teenagers
Yes.
before they get into this like cycle with birth control.